transgender, which means that my gender identity, so how I see myself, does not match up with my biological body. So biologically I have female body parts, but my mind and soul is male, so it's that disconnect that makes me transgender. So my dream has always been to play softball in college, and after countless tournaments, teams, and practices, it kind of became a reality when I signed my national letter of intent with the University of Missouri St. Louis. My senior year of high school, I came to the realization that I was transgender, and one of my first questions was like, what does that mean for my athletic career? What does that mean? Can I still play softball? What were the rules for it? So I did some digging, and I found out, the NCAA policy does allow you to play a women's sport if you are identified as male, as long as you don't take hormones. So I was relieved in that aspect that I wasn't breaking any rules with eligibility. So then during my freshman year, I came out to a few close friends and my family members, but I wasn't necessarily publicly out. And it was kind of a struggle just framing my mind with playing a women's sport and identifying as male. So then during my sophomore year, I'd come out to a lot of people in my life, and beginning of my sophomore year, I went in to talk to my coach about it because a lot of the girls on the team knew, my family knew I wanted to go by Ryan, use male pronouns, and I remember I was nervous going in, because my coach was, I remember, a strict military man. It was his way or the highway was, the motto, and I was kind of nervous as to what would happen if it didn't go well. Those worries kind of just went away the second we started talking, and he was just honest with me, and he said, if that's how I feel, he's going to respect it, and he may not know everything about it, but he's going to show me his respect, and he's going to try his best, which was really all I could ask for. So then after that meeting, we had went to my athletic director, Lori Flanagan, and she was talking to the NCAA just to make sure that we weren't, breaking any rules, that we were following the policy, so that we were all squared away in that aspect. And then, she kind of asked me, we were in the meeting, and it was me and her, and she asked me, about my childhood and my family, how many siblings I had. And for that aspect, it was more than just feeling welcome at UMSL. It felt like I was genuinely cared about. She was asking about me as a person, not just, one of the student athletes. So I think that went a long way. After that, I got all that acceptance from the athletic department and my team, but just the struggle of being a male athlete playing a women's sport was no fault of the athletic department, but it's just hard to do. I was really unhappy with my body. So I actually, at the end of my sophomore year, I decommitted from UMSL because I felt kind of backed into a corner. If I either had to choose to be unhappy with my body or choose to give up, the sport that I love with 2 more years of eligibility to play. And so I ended up, choosing I was going to start taking hormones and, moving forward with my transition in that aspect. But for the first couple weeks, we were still in season because our coach asked us to have those meetings when we were going to postseason. And I just told my parents I just wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with my decision. And we kind of just started brainstorming to figure out a way to maybe, get a little bit of both. And so we looked into it, and there were some surgeons that will allow surgery if you are not on hormones. So we went ahead and we were looking into that, and it seemed like a possibility. So, almost immediately I went back to my coach, and I was like, I got to come back, and I'm thankful that he let me back on the team, and he was really understanding. So over the summer before my junior year, I had top surgery, and I had some issues with my insurance, so the date got pushed back, and I was still recovering when we got back into the fall. So I wasn't, the first couple weeks, I wasn't able to do the full workouts, and he was really understanding with it, and he didn't push me with it, and it didn't affect, my playing time down the line. He understood, which, that's really all I can ask for. And so now I'm looking at, my senior year, and, I'm happy with my body, and I plan to take hormones upon graduation, but it's not a first priority. It's not the most important thing right now is, my senior year with my team, and we're looking forward to a great year.
It's phenomenal. Thank you for sharing your story. How have your teammates created an open environment where you can bring your whole self to the field?
You know, my teammates are just unbelievable. I didn't have any problems like with anyone, honestly. Like, it's a culture of like a family, you know, and I had known a couple of the girls before I came in to school, and they were the ones that really, you know, made me feel safe. There was 3 or 4 of them that I'd come out to my freshman year, and I said, and this is how I'm feeling, you know, not everyone knows. And, you know, they were like, well, do you want us to use male pronouns when it's just us? You know, just to get you comfortable. And it was, you know, that effort of, I could see their struggle as they would have to switch pronouns, like whether we're alone or whether we're in, you know, team practice or something. You know, it just like showed how much they cared about me. And there's countless times that like they've stuck up for me. They've had my back. You know, it's like that was one of the reasons. Like, I didn't want to walk away from softball because those were the people that I loved, and that was my team. You know, it was to finish the 4 years with them was really special.
Absolutely. Can you talk about how athletic administrators have been allies to you in this process, and what were maybe some of the concrete examples in which they demonstrated being an ally for you and being supportive for you?
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, my coach was understanding. My athletic director, like one of our academic advisors with the athletic department, it kind of stuck out to me because he had sent me an email just a few days after, and it was, you know, about classes and stuff. But, you know, he addressed it Ryan, and, you know, he was using, like, male pronouns, and that was just kind of, like, a very clear effort was being made, which I felt was, like, I really appreciated it. And as far as, like, my coach also would, you know, we'd order travel stuff, and he said, hey, like, do you want to order, you know, the male style of this travel suit, you know, like, so, like, little thoughts like that is, you know, it made me feel cared about.
And then share with us in terms of, in reading your bio, it shows that you've become a real advocate on campus for trans issues. Anything in terms of your impact on the broader student body?
You know, I actually did an article back home because there's some debate over the locker room use in the high schools, and it's kind of interesting to me. I got, you know, some Facebook messages, and you don't think that there are a lot of other transgender students, you know, playing college, playing in universities, and it just kind of was eye-opening to think, like, hey, you know, my aunt sent me this message. They're up in, like, Utah or wherever they are, and that was just kind of cool to see, like, it's really affecting them on a broader spectrum.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate you living a authentic and visible life, and you will create change everywhere you go. So thank you.